Hi, and welcome back to Becca's Kitchen. I hope you've had a chance to stop by my blog at NotDeprived.com. Today I have a special guest in my kitchen. I'm thrilled to introduce you to world-famous sushi chef, my husband, Kirk.
Hey!
Welcome!
Thank you. What a surprise to find you here.
Kirk is going to show us today how to make sushi at home on a budget.
We'll start with the rice. The key to good sushi is all in the rice. What we use is a good sticky rice. Now there's Japanese rice out there that can cost $20 for a couple of pound bag. I don't think that you need to go to that extent. Just find yourself a good sticky rice. This is from Compliments at Sobeys here in Canada, and it's worked perfect for us. Makes a good sushi. Now, on top of the rice, you want to make a real simple concoction of rice vinegar and sugar. And in this case, to be sugar-free, we're actually using xylitol.
Yes,
correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so this, just drizzled over your rice, is going to make it a little sweeter and give it that sushi restaurant kind of flavor to it. And we'll just kind of mix that in, and it also makes it easier to spread on this sushi paper as well, otherwise known as Nori.
That's right.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, it just hit me while we started this, I didn't get our masaka. So could you grab the masaka while we're starting out with this? Because that's kind of a nice treat as well. Okay, so probably a good time to go through the ingredients here.
Absolutely.
All right, and again, you can add anything to your sushi that you want to. We've already added our vinegar mixture to the rice, so it's set, ready to go. It's still warm to the touch. You'll see I have a bowl of water here because, as you can see, the rice is very sticky and will stick to you, so we always want to have water close by as we make this so we're not getting all bungled up. Chicken. Why do we have chicken here? That's not a real sushi ingredient, but it is great for your kids. So what we're going to do is we're going to make what we've kind of named sushi poppers, and our kids love it. So I don't know if it's because of the name poppers, that just makes it more fun, or what it is, but it's a great way to get them to eat chicken, and nori, which is roasted seaweed, and of course all sorts of good vitamins there for you as well, out of the nori. And so our kids, they love all of this, and that's one of the reasons we have chicken. As far as vegetables go, you have to have avocado for your sushi. That's, what do they call that, the perfect fruit?
They do. They call it the perfect food.
I don't know who it is, but they call it that. We've got some shrimp tempura. Why don't you tell them about the shrimp tempura and what we did here?
This is actually a gluten-free shrimp tempura, which normally they would not be, but I made a tempura batter using brown rice flour, and I just bought extra large shrimp, again, at Sobeys that was not cooked, and I put the batter on it, and I made our own shrimp tempura. So
again, great way to include shrimp tempura, but gluten-free. Over here you'll see we've got cucumber in various sizes, and this just depends on what you want. If you like a nice big crunchy cucumber, or even kind of julienne fry size, we have that as well. We're going to use some carrot today, even asparagus. Asparagus is great in your sushi, and some mushrooms in our vegetable sushi, and then of course the crab. And the crab is one of the most important parts of making a California roll, which is what we're going to make today. We'll make two quick ones, a California and a vegetable roll. With the crab, you also want to be very careful. You think crab, you don't necessarily think gluten, but it's not the case.
Exactly. With the crab meat, there's lots of ingredients that they add to it, and one of those can be wheat flour. So we called the company and found out that there was a particular one, again, at Sobeys, that uses rice flour instead. So the crab meat that we use now is gluten-free.
And that's Transocean?
It is. Transocean lobster-flavored crab.
Chunk crab. So if you're not going gluten-free, don't worry about it. Just grab the crab sticks, because they're actually easy if you just cut those or pull them into strings to add into your sushi. But what we've done is more of a California-style crab meat that you would see on the West Coast. We don't see it here in restaurants, but of a minced crab. So we've just minced this crab, and as you probably saw, I've added some mayonnaise in here. Some people like spicy mayonnaise. We're just going to use standard mayonnaise here, and again, depending on how closely you're watching your calories, I put in about 4 tablespoons here. Teaspoons, probably about teaspoons there. Yeah. Okay, so that gives us a nice minced crab there that's going to stick and stay together. And finally, what do we roll it in? We're going to roll it into two things. Number one, the nori we talked about, that's just roasted seaweed. I think for 10 sheets it's about $2.99 here in Canada, so real inexpensive, only 30 cents a sheet. And also, this is a Vietnam rice paper, and this is, I think, 25 or 30 sheets for about $2, so even cheaper. But this makes those nice vegetable rolls that you've probably seen in the restaurants also. So we're going to start with that, and we'll start making a sushi roll here for you. Okay, so why don't we start with a sushi popper. Let's start out with something for the kids. This one's just going to be a real simple chicken, and you did something with the kind of a teriyaki chicken, right?
I did, yes. You can find some gluten-free teriyaki sauce, but it's also loaded with high fructose corn syrup, among other ingredients. So what I did is I just took some regular tamari sauce, which is gluten-free, and I added some of the palm sugar that I like to use, and some garlic powder, and just some salt and pepper, and I just sauteed it up, and it tastes just like teriyaki sauce.
Well, it's delicious, and the kids, again, will have no idea that it's gluten-free, it's healthy, it's good for them, but they just love it. So, sushi popper number one. What you'll see is, I've never seen this in any of the videos that I've seen online, but a friend who is from Korea actually gave me the tip about putting cellophane down, or saran wrap down here over your board, because it just keeps it cleaner and easier as far as handling your nori, or the seaweed paper. So I've just spread out a thin, some people like a lot thicker, but we don't go terribly thick on the rice. And the more that you wet your fingers, it's just going to make it easier to spread that rice. So if we did want more, just bring it in, and as long as your fingers are wet, it's no problem. Bring it out to the edges, but leave about 1 inch clean on one side where we will start the roll. Okay, so on this one, let's just grab some chicken. There's really nothing to this, and we're going to spread it out back here along the edge that doesn't have the seaweed on it. And does that look pretty even?
Looks good to
Fairly
me.
even, maybe a little more here. All right. Then all we're going to do is we're going to bring it up with the cellophane, and we're going to start to roll it over here, and then we can back it up and actually use our sushi mat to help roll it. Really, don't be afraid to kind of manhandle it. Get in there and roll it up, and then what I do is once it's rolled, kind of in, a couple good squeezes, back out, and we have one roll done. That's how easy it is. Now, because we're doing it fairly quick, some of the rice on the side isn't necessarily the prettiest, but by the time that it's turned over, cut, you won't know any difference on that. So there's one. Let's jump to the California roll, which is probably the most popular sushi roll that they have. And that is simply, typically, the California roll will be avocado, cucumber, and the crab. And so that's what we'll do, and we'll do this one on nori to start out with. All right? So we'll grab, again, about a handful, and it just depends on how much rice you want, how thick. I've seen some people go crazy thick with it.
Yes, I actually prefer the way that you do it because I like to have all of the good ingredients be what I taste the most.
Yeah. So we'll spread this out. Again, bring it out to the sides. It doesn't have to be pretty because it's going to end up on the inside. And the only time that that would change is if you wanted to do a tempura roll, or just have the rice on the outside. You could do that, and if so, then you would want to do something a little more like this, where it's right along your edge, because you would then take the paper and you would actually flip it over and lay it on the other side. Now we're not going to do that, we're just going to do a standard sushi roll here with the rice on the inside, and for today's purposes, that's pretty darn close. I always start with a good size cucumber, again, along this edge that doesn't have the rice on it. And then we will go with some of our crab here. We'll just kind of grab a good amount and spread it out along the cucumber. All right, and there's no, you'll notice that I don't use ingredient sizes. I typically don't go by tablespoon of this, tablespoon of that. We just do what we want and what you like. All right, and last but not least, we're going to grab a knife and cut out our avocado and just place it right along the top. So again, nothing to this to have a California roll, and this entire roll, as a matter of fact, everything that we'll do today and that you'll see at the end is probably going to cost us in the realm of $10 to $12, and if we were in a restaurant, it would be at least in the $30, $40 mark by the time that you add in your taxes and drinks or whatever. So
I don't think we ever got out of a sushi restaurant without paying $50.
That's right. So it's affordable, it makes it much easier, healthier, you know where the ingredients are coming from, and you'll see again, I'll just roll it up, give it a good squeeze, it's set, and then once I do one more roll for you, we'll end up cutting it, and you will see what they look like displayed. Okay, so there's 2 rolls, real quick, real easy, healthy and inexpensive. We're going to do one more, and then we'll cut to the end and you'll see the whole variety. We're actually having some friends over tonight, and you'll see that we'll have a shrimp tempura roll. Becca sometimes likes a rainbow roll where we can wrap fish, tuna, salmon over top as well. And so we'll cut to that, but for the purposes of this video, let's jump to a vegetable roll on the Vietnamese rice paper.
Now this is an excellent thing if you're a little bit tentative to try sushi, if you're a little bit hesitant. This does not taste like seaweed. It doesn't have that fishy taste that some people don't like. So sometimes that's a really easy way to kind of incorporate sushi into your diet with the rice paper and a veggie roll to start.
That's true. I'm going to take it over here and just rinse it under the water. We're going to give it about 5 seconds. It should technically be warm water, but it doesn't really matter, I don't think. About 5 seconds on each side. And then as we prepare it, that's going to soften it and make it a lot easier to roll and kind of give you that texture that you're used to with a rice paper. So it's still fairly firm. Like I say, over the course of a couple minutes as we put the ingredients in, it's going to get a lot softer for us. And we'll just lay that out. All right, so number 1, rice. We've got to spread our rice out again, and we're going to leave that inch. Now you'll see it's a lot slipperier here on the rice paper until it dries out a little bit, but it's no problem. We just spread this out and kind of put it where we want.
Now this does take some practice, and I have attempted to do it a few times, but Kirk has become so good at it that I tend to just let him do it.
That's right. And it is fun because if you're having friends over, it's a good social food to have because you can talk. We've had friends come and help us with it as well. And again, it's healthy and all good for you. So that's close enough for me, for my taste there. So what we're going to do is we're going to toss in, and this time I'm going to go with, let's use some of the julienne size cucumbers here. So this is all prepped. The prep time takes a little bit, but we'll toss the cucumbers in. And a couple of asparagus here, which are good for you and taste good.
Nice and fresh.
We'll put some carrots. Again, we kind of shred some carrots here as well. And so your kids, when they're eating this, are getting all sorts of great food, and it tastes good. We even throw in some mushrooms as well. Don't really taste it once it's in here, but again, just makes it nice and fresh. And finally, avocado. We've also been known to put egg in it as well. However, egg then would not be vegan, right?
Exactly.
So if you're following a vegan diet, you wouldn't want to put the egg in on yours. But again, there's no rules. Okay, now, rice paper. What we found, it's a little trickier to get off the cellophane, so if you've got someone that can kind of hold it, that's definitely going to help as we start. You can see how pliable it's gotten here as we start to wrap it over. All right? So now we'll just kind of twist it into itself, start that roll, and then once we get it close to the end, I'll back it up, and then we're just going to use the mat here to kind of get it all in nice and tight. And what we'll do is we'll take a minute here and start to cut these, and believe me, it's going to look beautiful. As you can see, we've jumped ahead here. I went ahead and we finished the rest of the sushi rolls that we wanted to do for our company tonight. We did another vegetarian roll here, as well as one roll here where we reversed it and we put the rice on the outside. As I showed you, you just flip the paper over and then roll into it. The only other thing I thought might be handy is to see how we cut it, because there's a lot of ways to cut it, but to make sure that you're not, tearing it apart, a wet knife, and that's why my water is running over here. We just drop it under the water there real quick. I split it in half, and then half again, and then we just cut those into half, and we'll end up with, for a roll this size anyway, 8 pieces. So that's as easy as it is for that, and then we would just plate it, and as you'll see, it looks absolutely delicious there for when you have company over.
A piece of artwork.
Over here, you'll see something a little bit different, and Becca, why don't you tell them about that?
These are actually smaller pieces of nori. This is the package here. You may remember in previous videos our friend Felix, who stayed with us. These actually came from Korea, from his family, and they're just smaller pieces of nori that we put the same ingredients as the California rolls, and it makes just a nice little appetizer.
So have fun with it. Like I say, there's no rules. We go then and sometimes we'll add a couple of sauces. Like this chili sauce is absolutely delicious on the vegetarian rolls we find, people like that. So you can just kind of take it and you can drizzle it over just real lightly and drip it over like that. Also, having the sake handy, which are fish eggs, is kind of nice. Some people like that, some people don't. So for instance, tonight we'll just put it on these California open rolls, and if people want them, then they've got it. It is very salty, so you don't want too much. And finally, during the fast forward portion, you may have seen me sprinkling something, and that was just sesame seeds. And sometimes the sesame seeds just bring a little extra pop to the flavor. So I think that's it. That's healthy, inexpensive sushi rolls for you and your family. And again, all of this here may be $12 tops, including the crab and everything.
Well, thank you, Kirk, very much for being on Becca's Kitchen.
Hey, you can bet I'll be back again. It was fun. I'll have to come up with a new recipe. Until then,
see you next time, and stay tuned for more special guests on Not Deprived.
It's taste test time!
Once again, we are joined by special guests. These are our friends, the Tryons, and they love to come over when we make our homemade sushi. So let's try it, guys.
No. Okay, some chippies.
Very good. And gluten-free.
Great. So good.
Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to see any new recipes or have any requests, please comment below. See you next time.
Hey, this is actually good.